Hello, my name is John Teply, and I have the great pleasure to be talking with Poornima Sukumar of the Aravani Art Project. Uh, it's an amazing project. Hello, uh, uh, in which well, why don't I let you talk a little bit about your project?
Sure.
Um, uh, uh, could you so love and equality for all?
So, yes, we are the Aravani Art Project. I represent and I'm part of the project. The project is a collective. Aravani Art Project is a collective for transgender people from India and cis women from India. Uh, so we together created a project where we thought we should reclaim spaces, especially in the public, and also reclaim space within the arts. A lot of people have a lot of pre-notions about the transgender community in India. Um, I'm not going to ridicule all of those. The struggle is real for transgender people here. However, things are always, either they're getting better, but there's always going to be a flip side to it. I think we
Sure.
all would agree that in general, the visibility for trans people has increased a lot, even though their violence and what happens to them is not reduced because of stigma and because of sometimes the personal politics. And I would say it's similar in India as well. Um, it's similar all over the world. And I think the project also archives a lot of Indian history that is related to the transgender community because our history is so vibrant and the transgender people were actually much more accepted in India before the British rule.
Ah,
And yeah, and within our kingdoms and during uh, during the kings, when India was ruled by kings, they were much more accepted, much more trusted, they were given responsibilities. And after the British rule, they were considered pretty much with no identity and banned from the society itself. And obviously that continued even after we got our independence. It continued, and they have been discriminated for decades now. So it's almost 75 years that we're talking about and more,
wow.
right? So we're talking about a lot of discrimination and something that cannot be eradicated or cannot just change overnight. So I know we are all part of the change, the slow change, and for a better tomorrow. And with Aravani Art Project and us painting in public spaces, people are getting to look at the trans people with a different perspective as artists, respect them as artists, have conversations with them as artists, and not always about when they came out or how are their struggles, because that is always
Sure.
going to be there. It's a breath of fresh air when somebody comes and asks what's the painting about, or oh my god, this pattern is beautiful, did you do it? So the conversations are much more organic and more long lasting, and people are initiating these conversations. So before which people were scared to talk to the people from the trans community. So we also have that as an issue here. And yes, so I think in a nutshell, we exist. We paint a lot of walls, and we're really, really looking forward to some meaningful collaborations.
So by being out there as an artist, you kind of begin to break down the stereotypes of what the trans uh, gender people are, and but also it's you talk about reclaiming public space, and that's could you talk a little bit about what that means?
So let me share an example. I think in India, I'll just talk about India right now because we are still ruled by so much of patriarchy here. the men occupy these spaces so easily, and it's so it's frivolous. They use it in a very frivolous way. They act like they own that space and they are meant to be there.
Ah,
So what happens is, for even for women, it took a long haul for us to actually realize that we are equals, and it had to. There was a process to it. There were movements for it, and I think world all over the world, women were fighting for their equal rights and are still continuing to do so, because we've still not got that respect, or are still not getting that degree of space where whether it is profession, whether it's personal. And I think slowly things are changing. It took time, right? So
yeah,
even in
yeah.
India, a lot of women were not going to work. We were always subjected to be in the kitchen. We were pushed into this whole system of marriage. Things are changing rapidly in that space, because a lot of women my age and my generation are changing that. We are not really keen on getting married or falling for those institutional way of thinking, and we want to do it because we want to do it, not because that's our age or because the way the society looks at us. But these are everyday fights, and it's never going to end very soon. However, while we are going through that, I realized the transgender people might have it much, much more hard. And I know I am coming from so many privileges in my own life, with a good education and access to healthcare and so many other things. Accepting people are not going to stare at me when I go somewhere. I mean, they might stare at me for different reasons, but they're not going to stare at me for who I am or for the gender I've chosen, right? So I can just walk into a shopping mall and, just be there around all day,
Sure,
but it's
sure.
not the same for transgender people. It's risky. And, if they are not in a group, or if they're not with company, they feel scared, they feel isolated, because people are not willing to help them out if they are in danger. So these are all certain constructs that have already happened within the community. So when I say we need to reclaim those spaces, we want to be in a space for no reason, like, or for the reason which is art, or we want to be present in that space and take over that space, which is what we love doing.
Now, uh, does it make it a safer place? As you know, does uh, does the Aravani Art Project through working with different people and does it help make space safer for people?
Definitely. I think because what happens is the process of art making itself, while we are in the public space, takes more than 2, 3 days, which means we need to build a rapport, we need to build the local people start becoming friends. Initially, they laugh at us, or they're like mocking us. They're like, we wonder what these bunch of women are going to paint. Are they even going to be able to climb this scaffolding? So that there are all these doubts, which is very interesting, because we are actually challenging their own
Sure.
ideologies about what a woman or a transgender person should be, a cis and a trans should be. And so when we start doing our work, then they are very supportive, and then suddenly they're like, oh my god, something changes. I don't know what exactly it is. I'm not able to put my finger on it, but it changes. By the time we finish the mural, we have made a lot of friends in that area. Everybody's, one person or the other, one person's buying us chai, one person is giving us biscuit, one person's like, come to my place and, take a break. You can use the bathroom in my house. So all those things start happening, and it's very organic. None of us are going and preaching them, saying, talk to them, or, nothing
No,
is
no.
happening. We are just there doing our work and minding our own business, and everybody else wants to be part of that business suddenly. So it's really incredible to see those changes, and it's not something that can be documented or written about. As
Yeah,
much as I
yeah.
try, I don't think this impact is measurable at the moment, and hence it is only to be experienced.
No, that's quite incredible. It's something that happens through work. Now, Now, the other thing that I think is people are impressed by your paintings. I mean, I'm thinking of one large building that you did, in which you painted the whole building, you know, and you have like these beautiful colors, and there was like one main area where you had a series of faces and people, and but you also painted the rest of the building, and it's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and so you do impress with the finished product. I mean, these are great paintings, and you know, so that's part of it too, I think.
Could you repeat just the last part of your question?
Just that the paintings themselves are
Yeah.
outstanding. You know, they're very impressive, and that I think in itself impresses the community. You know, just that
Yes.
whoever did the paintings, they would be impressed.
So I think our idea of colors, as you know, India is so vibrant, and we have so many textures and palettes and hues, and also so many different cultures and tradition. As a country, it's so difficult for us to put something in a box. It's been so difficult when somebody says, is this how it's done in India? But we can't, it can be done in a region, it's not everywhere, it's always that. And that's a misconception also, right? Especially people who don't belong in India don't realize that we have these differences every 100 kilometers. So
Ah,
when we are painting in a particular place, we are always adapting to the colors and the textures of that place. We do a little bit of research. We walk around the market spaces. We try and understand what are the important components in that city or in that village or in that space. It could be a pattern, it could be a folk art that belongs to that region. So we have so many of those things. So we try and inculcate all of those within our art. And in terms of the building that you're talking about, yes. Although we painted three sides of the building, the fourth side, which was just with the colors, we took help from some of the painters. And in a way, it's interesting to also involve cis men in this whole process. It's interesting to see the way they come forward to help out and be part of the collective, even though it's so severely femme. But it's nice to make space, right? That's what feminism is about. It's not about uh, discarding another gender just because we want to fight for a particular gender. It's trying to make space, create a safe space for everybody to express, whether it's man, woman, cis het, gay, lesbian, anybody. So yes, the collective largely is functioning only with trans women and cis women, but we do take help from cis men as well, whoever's a good ally who can help us on ground,
sure.
because we do need their expertise sometimes. So I feel it's important to involve everybody. We're talking about inclusion, and we can't be rigid about certain things.
Great. Well, I've been talking with Poornima Sukumar of the Aravani Art Project, and those of us in Portland will have the great pleasure of having a Zoom meeting with her this Saturday. And those who are watching this video, come join us. She's an amazing person. The Aravani Art Project is extraordinary. It's like it's very unique, and it has a very important purpose for what they do. So thank you so much, and we will see you in a couple of days.
Yes, see you. Hope to see all of you there, and we hope to be showing some of our work as well while we talk, so that you will have an idea of the work that we do. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay,
Super.
well, bye for now, and
Goodbye.
bye, and we'll see you
See
in a
you
bit.
very soon. Yes.
Bye.